lower wounds of German menace. British Navy must grow. And yes, for those of you who are not as good at wars and years and whatever as I am, I'm not good at that at all. I can't remember, but I do know that this precedes the First World War. So there are still brewing around the world. Borwick's the best and purest baking powder in the world. Says the finger. The pointing finger says it all. British Navy must grow. Okay, so they're actually... yeah, there seem to be relations with the Kaiser government. Oh yeah. They are actually doing, you know, gathering the troops, so to speak. Ah, interesting, interesting. I'm late for a date with my bed. Okay, Marie, good night. Thank you so much for coming in, and thanks for the host. Assassination of Archduke Ferdinand. Yes, Valkyrie Gaming. I've read stuff about the First World War, and how much of a coincidence that the World War even started. It's horrible. We can't even make those things up. It's really, really strange and bizarre. It's, you know, I don't know. It's really strange. This is indeed grand. Mrs. Agency Servants. Oh, on 10th Baker Street. Really? Partnership investments? Oh, it's business partnership. Okay. No love ads. How disappointing. We have looked at everything. Oh, it was a building. Okay. I wonder what was approaching us. About 6 o'clock I went home. Regent Street, Waterloo, New Bond Street, Oxford Street. I've been there! Oxford Street. Paddington Street. Awesome. My flat was the first floor in a new block behind Langham Palace. Let's enter. There was no restaurant or anything of that sort, and each flat was quite shut off from the others. I guess that was a bit unusual back then. Hannay, this is... Oh, we want the text. I can read it, but it will take time. Dear Richard, how is London? I do hope Paddock is looking after you well. And that your luck on the horse is lasting out. 10 to 1 it is. Now here's a tale for you. Last month in the Kalahari, I found myself in a tight spot. After 2 days on the plain, I lost my way and could not find the river. I was forced to go without water for 3 days and 5 without a morsel of food. Save for a few mopane worms. Ew! An excellent source of protein, which steered me away from starvation. Then I ran into an old chief to whom I owed money. Because of my debt, he refused to help me, so I had to continue on my feet. The desert is not kind to any man, but I made it out, and a man in Tanganyika sold me a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Oh! Doggy dog! Which will be my partner in my future hunts. I've named the animal Shaka after the old Zulu chief, and will take him to the Congo with me, where I go for the elephant. Oh. I plan to leave next week if I can get my new rifle finished in time. Yours, Peter Pinar. Or something like that. I don't like the hunting. I don't. Back from the shop with chocolate. How's the game going? Ooh, chocolate indeed. The game is going really well. I think you would have, if you know, like history. Hold on, I'm just getting my own chair. If you like history and like old articles and advertisements of England, there were quite a few, and I think they were actual, the real deal. So that was really interesting to look at all the different advertisements in the paper. Draw the symbol as they appear. Okay. That was unusual. There's no clicking, just to
Paddock?
Open the door.
That's me home. I'll be heading out for dinner.
Paddock isn't answering? Paddock? Oh, it's a servant. I hate servants on the premises, so we had a fellow to look after me who came in by the day. Okay, so he's not a servant. He arrived before 8 o'clock every morning. He used to depart at 7, for I never dined at home. Really? Oh, do not yawn. That will make me yawn. Wickham Street. Oh, Oxford Street. Been there. Oxford Circus. New Bond Street. I think I've been on Bond Street as well. Regent Street. Piccadilly Circus. Yep, I've been there as well. The Haymarket. Cool. Cool. Trafalgar Square. Down in the bottom. I'm pointing as if you see where I point on the screen, but silly me. That evening I dined at the Café Royal, and then headed elsewhere for entertainment. You need to come to York. I will take you on the river cruise. Yes, definitely. York seems such a beautiful place. So I really have to visit. And that is not an empty statement. I will do, actually. I will. As soon as I've, got the money, I will absolutely do it. Oh, I can choose! Leicester Square or music halls? I don't know what they do on Leicester Square. Is it anything special? Music halls? Well, music apparently, but Leicester Square. Is there more bars over there, perhaps? Music halls, Leicester Square. Which one would you choose? Fade, you perhaps know anything about Leicester Square? Maybe theatre? Oh, maybe, that's true. I think we're going to try out Leicester Square. Ooh. Does it says Leonore on the building? Not sure. On this particular evening I wandered to Leicester Square, where the more resplendent theatre, there you go, of varieties could be found. A show at the Alhambra caught my eye, though one could never be quite sure if the act until it had been seen. Oh, was it that strange? Okay, we can go to both. Okay, that's nice. The countless music halls of London were one way to passing the evening away. Farces of all styles played a conspicuous part in this week's bill. They look a bit familiar as well. Okay, been both to Leicester Square and music halls. It was a silly show. I did not stay long. Oh? What did he do? I'm curious. Oh, come on. You can't just say it's silly and then not say anything else. On the way home, I gave a half-crown to a beggar because I saw him yawn. He was a fellow sufferer. Oh. No, no. No, no. Go back. No, Game. I'm doing as you told me. I'm spinning backwards, as you said. Ah. I made a vow. I would give the old country another day to fit me into something. If nothing happened, I would take the next boat for the Cape. Ooh. New event and an unlikely visitor. Uh-oh. Resolved to leave England for the Cape, Hannay's outlook changes as a mysterious visitor drops by. Uh-oh. I have a sneaky feeling. Sneaky, sneaky. This is not going to end well. Wimpole Street, London. Same day, Monday 18th, 1914. You can hear the horses and the horse carriages. Someone's coming.
Hey, can I speak to you? May I come in for a minute?
I recognized him as the occupant of a flat on the top floor, with whom I had passed the time of day on the stairs. He was slim, with a short brown beard and small, gimlety blue eyes. His hand was pointing at my arm. I motioned him in. Uh-oh. This seems quite silly, though. No sooner was he over the threshold than he made me dash for my back room where I used to smoke and write my letters. Then he bolted back.
Is the door locked?
What's happening, dude? What's going on? He filled himself a stiff whiskey and soda and drank it off in 3 gulps. I sat down in an armchair and lit my pipe. I was pretty certain that I had to deal with a madman. Or someone in trouble?
I'm very sorry. It's a mighty liberty, but you look like the kind of man who would understand. I've had you in my mind all this week when things got troublesome.
He's American?
Say, will you do me a good turn?
I'll listen to you. That's all I'll promise.
Pardon. I'm a bit rattled tonight. You see, I happen at this moment to be dead.
What does it feel like?
A smile flickered over his drawn face. Oh. Would have only taken me 1, not 3. Maybe he He's more of a slow drinker, perhaps?
I'm not mad. Yet. Say, sir, I've been watching you, and I reckon you're a cool customer. I reckon, too, you're an honest man and not afraid of playing a bold hand. I'm gonna confide in you. I need help worse than any man ever needed it. I want to know if I can count you in.
Uh-oh. What have you done, sir?
Get on with your yarn and I'll tell you.
Oh, get on with your yarn. Oh. Never heard that expression. That's quite funny. The queerest rigmarole. Oh, oh dear. Franklin P. Scudder was an American from Kentucky. After college, being pretty well off, he started out to see the world. Oh, United States. He take the big ferry to Spain and then the train to India. He wrote a bit and acted as a war correspondent for a Chicago paper. Tension in the Near East, Balkan affairs, test Europe. He had played about with politics, at first for interest and then because he couldn't help himself. Then he made his discovery. He took a car and drove all the way to northern Italy? Or... Oh, I like this style of art. Oh. Is he sneaking? He looks... Oh, he's hiding by the tree. He is sneaking. Oh, that was a nice sneak. Away behind all the governments and the armories, there was a big subterranean movement going on, engineered by some very dangerous people. Oh. Someone wearing a bowler hat and a pipe. Someone smoking a cigar. The sort of educated anarchists that make revolutions. Uh-oh. See a man. And behind them were financiers who were playing for money. Uh-oh. He's grinding his hands. They wanted Russia and Germany at loggerheads. Bam! Collision. Everything would be in the melting pot. The anarchists looked to see a new world emerge, while the capitalists would make fortunes by buying up wreckage. And Scudder had himself convinced that the Jewish men were behind it all. There it is. There it is. The beginning of First World War.
On the 15th day of June, Constantine Karolides is coming to this city. The British Foreign Office has taken to having international tea parties, and the biggest of them is due on that date. Now, Karolides is reckoned the principal guest, and if my friends have their way, he will never return to his admiring countrymen.
I set up for that, for I'd been reading about Karolides that very afternoon. We did! We didn't even see a picture.
Well, that's simple enough anyhow. You can warn him and keep him at home.
And play their game. If he does not come, they win, for he's the only man that can straighten out the tangle. And if his government are warned, he won't come, for he does not know how big the stakes will be on June the 15th.
I was beginning to get interested in the beggar.
What about the British government? They're not going to let their guests be murdered. Tip them the wink, and they'll take extra precautions.
No good. They might stuff your city with plainclothes detectives and double the police. And Constantine would still be a doomed man. He'll be murdered by an Austrian. And there'll be plenty of evidence to show the connivance of the big folk in Vienna and Berlin. It will all be an infernal lie, of course, but the case will look black enough to the world. But it's not gonna come off if there's a certain man alive right here in London on the 15th day of June. And that man is gonna be your servant, Franklin P. Scudder.
Ooh, we have collected Scudder. I was getting to like the little chap. His jaw had a shut like a rat trap. Is that a nice thing to say? And there was a fire of battle in his gimtly eyes.
Where did you find out this story?
I completed my evidence 10 days ago in Paris. I can't tell you the details now, for it's something of a history. But when I was quite sure in my own mind, I judged it my business to disappear. And I reached this city by a mighty queer circuit. Till yesterday, I thought I had muddied my trail some, and was feeling pretty happy. Then...
The recollection seemed to upset him, and he gulped down some more whiskey.
Then I saw a man standing in the street outside this block. I used to stay close in my room all day, and only slip out after dark for an hour or two. I watched him for a bit from my window, and I thought I recognized him. He came in and spoke to the porter. When I came back from my walk last night, I found a card in my letterbox. It bore the name of the man I want least to meet on God's earth.
I think that the look in my companion's eyes, the sheer naked scare on his face, completed my conviction of his honesty.
What did you do next?
I realized I was bottled as sure as a pickled herring, and that there was only one way out. I had to die.
What?
If my pursuers knew I was dead, they would go to sleep again.
How did you manage it?
Okay, that's true, I guess. Step 1. I told the man who valves me that I was feeling pretty bad and got myself up to look like death. That wasn't difficult, for I am no slouch at disguises. Step 1. Convince Porter illness requires disguise, makeup, clay. Clay? Rip gown. Too much. Rip gown. I've run out of clay. Hold on. What do you do with clay to make, you know, if you're going to look like you're dead? Did he, like, I don't know. What do you do with clay? Did he make a small clay doll of himself? Then I got a corpse. You can always get a body in London if you know where to go for it. I fetched him back in a trunk on the top of a four-wheeler, and I had to be assisted upstairs to my room. Where to find a corpse? Graveyard? Highgate Cemetery? Transport? Stairs? So helpful. Carriaged. Cabby carriaged. Uh-oh. This is getting intriguing. I had to pile up evidence for my inquest, so I went to bed and got my man to mix me a sleeping draught, and then I told him to clear out. He wanted to fetch me a doctor, but I swore some and said it couldn't abide leeches. There'll be an inquest. Need to supply evidence? Feign death, sleeping draught. Who to administer? Nice notes. Demo, thank you so much for the host. The auto host, I believe, so thank you so much. His jaw... Okay, I'm reading this first. When I was left alone, I started to fake up that corpse. He was my size, and I judged he had perished from too much alcohol, so I put some spirits about the place. The jaw was the weak point in the likeness, so I blew it away with a revolver. Ugh! Ugh! I dare say there will be somebody to swear having heard a shot, but there are no neighbors on my floor, and I guessed I could risk it. His jaw is a problem, my options are limited. A gun, neighbors, will make one loud bang. Not a great deal of choice. I guess. Couldn't he, you know... Wouldn't it be, you know, much easier to use like a club or a hammer or something to mess him up than use a pistol? I'm not sure. Or a revolver. I left the body in a bed dressed up in my pajamas with a revolver lying on the bedclothes and a considerable mess around. Then I got into a suit of clothes and I had kept waiting for emergencies. I didn't dare shave for fear of leaving tracks, and besides, it wasn't any kind of use my trying to get into the streets. Okay. File checklist, dress body, place revolver, change, leave no trace. I hope he took the notes with him. Ooh, that's a nasty mess. Ew.
I had had you in my mind all day, and there seemed nothing to do but to make an appeal to you. I watched from my window till I saw you come home, and then slipped down the stair to meet you.
Yes, he sat blinking like an owl, fluttering with nerves and desperately determined.
There, sir. I guess you know about as much as me of this business.
Oh, well then. Oh. Oh, we're pouring ourselves a whiskey? We are. I was now pretty well convinced that he was going straight with me. It was the wildest sort of narrative, but I had heard in my time many steep tales which had turned out to be true. And if he had wanted to get a location in my flat and then cut my throat, he would have pitched a milder yarn. That yarn?
Hand me your key, and I'll take a look at the corpse. Excuse my caution, but I'm bound to verify a bit if I can.
I reckoned you'd ask for that. But I haven't got it. It's on my chain on the dressing table. I had to leave it behind, for I couldn't leave any clues to breed suspicions.
Ah, that's true.
The gentry who are after me are pretty bright-eyed citizens.
If he had taken it with him,
You'll
it
have to
would
take
be
me on
suspicious.
trust for the night, and tomorrow you'll get proof of the corpse business right enough.
I thought for an instant or two.
Right. I'll trust you for the night. I'll lock you into this room and keep the key. Just one word, Mr. Scudder. I believe you're straight, but if so be you are not, I should warn you that I'm a handy man with a gun.
I haven't the privilege of your name, sir, but let me tell you that you're a true gentleman. Now, I'll thank you to lend me a razor.
I took him to my bedroom and turned him loose. Turned him loose? In half an hour's time, a figure came out that I scarcely recognized.
My hat, Mr. Scudder.
What? Did you take his hat? Similarities? Only his gimlety, hungry eyes were the same. He was the very model, even to the brown complexion, of some British officer who had a long spell in India. He was shaved clean, his hair was parted in the middle, and he had a cut in his eyebrows. Ew.
Not Mr. Scudder. Captain Theophilus Digby of the 40th Gurkhas, presently home on leave. I'll thank you to remember that, sir.
I hope he does, because I can't remember the name at all. I made him up a bed in the smoking room and sought my own couch, more cheerful than I'd been for the past month. Things did happen occasionally, even in a god-forgotten metropolis.